Welcome everyone, Sir Heroscape here today, coming at you with the live stream of the Renegade Con Heroscape Meet the Team. We're going to be doing, just showing their live, I guess, presentation of the team and then doing reactions. So hopefully this goes well and technology works with us and we can have good audio, hear everything, and have a conversation and kind of first reactions and walking through kind of what to expect in terms of Meet the Team. Now, something that this last week a lot of people have been doing is on the Discord and just on Facebook, wherever, is kind of calling out the team saying, yeah, I can't wait for new announcements of Heroscape. Something that is worth mentioning is that the team, Scott at Renegade, has been pretty, what shall I say, frank about how this is very much just meeting the design team. A lot of the stuff that they're going to be covering will be less about, actual content of what to expect, but more so about who the designers are and getting to know them. So we'll see if they hold true to that. I think they have to say that, right, in order to, temper expectations. But I think it's possible that they may share some more. We'll see, right? I mean, it's pretty tempting when you've got a lot of excited people who want to know more to maybe share a little bit here or there. So we'll see if they have any new information for us. But we're just a couple minutes away. So I figured just take a couple minutes now, talk through a few things. Feel free to, chat and let me know if you have questions or things you want to talk about. But we're just going to go ahead and light up the beacon, so to speak, and just put our screen here on what to expect. So right now they've got the YouTube channel. If you don't want to listen to me jabber, let me know, and I'll just post the link here, or you can copy it. But this is the link to the channel itself for the live announcements. And so if you don't want to kind of hear a live reaction from me, that's totally fine. I don't really care. That there's you're not hurting my feelings at all. We're just here to have fun and listen. So yeah, we've got a countdown of 3 minutes. So a couple things in the chat here. We've got people just kind of saying hello. And one thing that actually was kind of cool, I didn't realize this, is they're doing a giveaway. So for those of you that want to go on the page, I can actually link it. See, check out Cool Games. No, here we go. Also, while you wait, make sure to enter into our giveaway. So I'm actually going to copy this link and I'm going to post it in the chat here. For those interested, here's Renegade's giveaway information for this event. So I just copied that for ease of reference for those that are interested. But you can, if you're already on that page, you can access it here. So I'm going to take a look here. Let's see, 430 entities. Oh, days left. Okay, Renegade Con. Let's see, welcome to Renegade Con with the Darkness Edition. We're going to massive giveaway that lasts all weekend, or tickets into do the drawing by performing the actions on the direction screen. Oh, Okay, so all this stuff. There will be 5 total winners. Winners will get to choose one in-stock game that they want sent to them completely free. Good luck, gamers. Dang. Official rules and regions are available. So that's interesting. I wonder if you can hold out. I wonder if we can wait for Heroscape to come back and wait for it to be in stock and then use this free giveaway. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to. I'm sure. I'm wondering. I wonder if anyone asked that. That would be interesting to know. I'm not sure on that. But it looks like you have to check out the website, visit them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, sign up for the newsletter. I've done actually all of these except... Oh no, this is extra entries. Is that Instagram? I actually don't know. If it is, I'm not on Instagram, so I don't know. But actually, I think I've done all of these, so maybe I'll have to do that and see if I can get a free game. I don't know. My guess is... I mean, Heroscape hasn't been announced yet, right? Officially as a product on the shelves. And so it says in stock, so I'm wondering if this is something you can hold on to. Where does it say? Oh, yeah, there we go. In stock. Yeah, I don't know if it's something you can hold on to and wait to use until Heroscape's back, or if it's kind of a must-use now. If so, I mean, I'm sure they've got other games that are interesting, right? Anyway, so that's the giveaway information. So... worth checking out if you're interested in that. Yeah, we got some chat from, it looks like 57 people waiting on the Renegade side. We've got a good little group here. But yeah, so Age of Annihilation we know is coming back. Again, just to review with those of you that forgot or can't remember or whatever. And this is the Heroscape team that we're going to announce and find out about. So we've got 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1... Let's go. Well, not quite. We'll see if they start. And keep in mind, if audio is off, let me know. You should be able to... I'm going to upgrade the audio here a little bit. You should be able to hear myself as well as them. And if my audio is too high once they start talking, please keep me updated on that as well. I'd like to know if... Uh-oh. There we go.
Heroscape,
there we go.
Meet the Team panel. So here we are. This is just to give you a little bit of background.
Oops.
Forward here at Renegade, and that you'll probably be interacting with over the coming months to years as we, kind of bring Heroscape back from the dead and make it the awesome game that everybody wants it to be. So, without further ado, I'm going to go around all our little boxes here of people's heads, and we're going to let everybody introduce themselves. I'll start first. So I'm Scott Gaeta, Renegade Game Studios president and publisher.
Okay.
And let's next go to Dan Bojanowski. So Dan Bojanowski, I'll give you his title and a little bit of preface. He's our senior producer, so he kind of runs all of our board and card game products here at Renegade. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan.
Yeah, hello everybody. Nice to see you. Dan Bojanowski. I've been with Renegade for 6 to 7 years now. For quite a while. I've known Scott for 20 years. Been in the game industry for about 20 years, doing all sorts of various things. I live, eat, and breathe games, so I'm right at home making them. For those who don't know what a producer does, I'll give a little bit of a background there. So I'll tell you what I don't do. I don't design games. I don't do graphic design.
Interesting.
I don't write the rules. I don't illustrate things. I don't do any of that. But what I do is I work with all of those other teams to make it a great game, figuring out what the configurations are for
okay,
products,
interesting.
figuring out making sure it works financially.
So he's kind of like the project manager.
That's right. Double checking a lot of things. You get a lot of pack out checks from the factory. It's a lot of like herding the other people.
Okay.
Make sure that it all
makes sense
and make sure it all goes in the right direction. So I love what I do. I have said this before. This is my dream job, and I'm super excited to be here and working on Heroscape now.
Small team.
All right.
Only
cool.
5 people.
Next, let's go to Jeannie Torres, who is our creative director for Heroscape moving forward. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeannie.
Creative director.
Hello, everyone. And hey, Dan, by the way, I I love having you as a sidekick. He is so helpful. So he's got my back and I got his all the time. So hi, I'm Jeannie Torres. I'm one of the creative directors here at Renegade Games. I've had the privilege of working here for about 6 years, but full-time for the last 3. I have the awesome task of hiring illustrators, artists, managing other graphic designers, and production artists. I get to work on designing packaging and design all the awesome components that go into games. Honestly, I'm really stoked to get going on Heroscape with this super team we have here. So it's,
cool.
I'm super, super happy, super excited. I as well love this job. It fulfills me.
So she's the director. She manages the team
So,
of designers.
For those of you that have been with Renegade
Seems like.
and playing some of our games for a while, you're familiar with Jeannie's work because she has been the creative director on all the Hasbro branded things like Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, and Transformers, card and or board games, miniatures games, and all of that sort of stuff. And now she's moving to Heroscape to head up Heroscape. So, all right, next up, let's go to Lee. So Lee just recently joined the team, what was it, about a month or so ago?
Okay, so she
like that?
was the new hire probably then?
I think a month now.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they just hired a new
Oh,
position.
no, it's been a month, yes.
Been a
My
month,
first
okay.
day was Labor Day. My
Yeah.
first day
There
was
you go.
holiday.
So she's the new hire.
Nice. So Lee is our associate producer for Heroscape, 100% dedicated to Heroscape, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, Heroscape all day, all the time.
Maybe not 24/7, but most of the day, yes.
What-
At least 8 of
that's-
it.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Occasionally
All right,
at 2 a.m. if I'm up.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
I'm Lee. I've worked professionally in the tabletop industry for close to 5 years now.
Okay.
Renegade for about a month. And I got my start. I started with Fantasy Flight Games, and I worked in organized play.
Okay.
And then
Okay,
I
Fantasy Flight.
eventually joined the
Not
production
bad.
team with Asmodee North America and handled production for a bunch of really great titles. I've worked on Shatterpoint, X-Wing, a little bit of Star Wars Legion, and Pandemic. So, and then I joined Renegade because I was like, oh my goodness, they're hiring for Heroscape. This is like dream job part 2, and here I am.
Nice. All right, and
So does
last
she
but certainly not
play
least, that
Heroscape?
mysterious figure somewhere. I don't know where everyone's
what-
arranged on your screens at
what's
home,
with the,
but on mine, she's down in the
what's with the
corner
hood?
here,
I don't
so
know.
it's very foreboding. So Rowan joins the team as
Rowan.
our game designer. She joins the game design team and will be leading Heroscape game design going forward. So, Rowan, why don't you reveal yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Welcome to our stream. What is a reveal stream without a little bit of drama? I meet the team stream naturally. Hello. Good to meet you all over the internet. As I was mentioned, my name is Rowan. I will be designing for Heroscape.
A little bit over the top.
I am so extremely
we'll see.
thrilled to be designing for Heroscape that I can't even think of anything intelligent to say. But I previously was working with Atomic Mass Games, working on Marvel Crisis Protocol, if anyone is familiar with that. I did a lot of work on their narrative events, their renewal of vows, if anyone is playing Crisis Protocol, the ultimate encounters, those sorts of things that pack the punch, pack the story, bring it into the game. So I'm overjoyed to be here working on games that I've been playing since I was quite small.
Nice.
And I'm not small anymore, and I'm ready to work.
Nice.
So is that is
yeah,
she saying
so both Lee and Rowan
she
joined the team recently
plays
and
Heroscape?
have just been
think.
totally immersing themselves in the Heroscape project.
if they have Heroscape
and,
tags, I'd appreciate them
and
telling
getting
us.
lots and lots and lots of things
That
done.
would help
So,
to know if they're members of the community
I'm
or
gonna
not.
start asking you guys different questions, and we'll see what we can drag out of these people. So Lee, what was your first experience with Heroscape?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out
Are
here.
you new to Heroscape? Is this just like, oh, I got
Yeah, we need to know a little bit more about these
stuff.
people.
I guess maybe I should check out and see what that thing is, or is there a background here?
Oh my goodness. So back when I was a poor college student, my husband and I, like, we enjoyed playing games, but we're like, oh my goodness, they're so stinking expensive. So, like, we really got into like Arkham Horror and things like that, and we're like, but these games are so stinking expensive. And then one day or one evening, it stormed like crazy, and we're like, well, let's just pull over and stop at a store. And like we were like sort of out in like more rural area, and we were at a Fleet Farm, and we're like, okay, I guess we'll take cover at Fleet Farm. And then we walked through the aisles, and terrible selection of video games, and we went through the toy aisle. We saw Heroscape.
Sorry, I probably
and
should have
like,
done.
what is this?
Oh, we can't see the
we opened
chat.
Up, we looked
Can
at
you?
it. It was the Rise of Valkyrie core set or master set.
No, I can't see.
And
Why does it show the chat?
it was only $40, and at the time we could afford it. So we're like, all right, cool, let's get this.
Well, I'll
And
leave it
then
not full screen so you can see the chat.
We didn't have a dining room table for several months because that was where Heroscape lived. And then after that, it was collecting more of the figures.
Okay, so
stocking Toys R Us,
she's been around since the
exclusives,
beginning.
like the Plague Bearer figures.
Again, I'm curious how
my
involved
only regret is I wasn't able to get 2 of the terrain expansions.
they've been in the community.
So no volcanic tiles.
If they
and
have
no snow tiles.
Heroscaper
I have
names,
most of
I'd
everything
appreciate
else.
it.
But yeah, that is my experience with Heroscape. So roughly around launch up, and then now I get to do it professionally, so which is awesome.
Nice. All right, Lee. Lee. Rowan. So tell us a little bit of your first experiences with Heroscape.
Absolutely. So, my parents have been hobby gaming since before hobby gaming was really a set of words that we put together. They would always bring home weird games and play them with us growing up. And my dad actually taught me probabilities by making me play war games with him and losing them a lot of time. And one of the games that I played a lot was Heroscape. So
Okay.
I've been collecting the figures since some of my younger siblings might have chewed on some of them. So that's my experience with Heroscape. Is I've been playing it. I've been loving it since chewing was an option for some people in the household.
Nice.
Not me, of course. Certainly not.
Right. All right. So let's jump over to Jeannie real quick. I have a question for you, Jeannie. So what does a creative director do on a game? Like what's your involvement? Like what kind of parts of the project do you touch?
Dysel, actually Nukatha asked the same question that I just did.
I'll work really close.
Dysel says, I don't believe any of these
especially
people
with,
have a
like,
known
the
username,
about,
Heroscaper's
the
username.
look that we want to achieve, right, for the game, for the packaging.
We'll talk
especially
about
the
that.
box. I mean, that's the first thing that a customer sees, and it's so important to get it right and to make sure that the brand is strong and it looks the way it should be. So we'll be working super close together, making sure that we are selecting the right artists, and we are
Again, for those of you listening, let me know if you can hear the audio
you want to make sure that you
of
have the right look
the
for
live
every
stream.
component there
I
is
want to
in
make
the
sure
game.
that you guys can hear
And
it.
so
I hope you
first
can
it
hear it
starts with
okay.
hiring artists, and then you art direct them, and then if I get the time, my choice is to design the packaging, the box, and card frames and things like that. And if I can't do it, then I'm gonna bring on another graphic designer to help me. And then when there's the rule book and a whole other stuff to lay out. And I'll usually have a production artist under that. So my job is to really oversee all of the visual aspects of the
I've got
game.
some thoughts I'm going
I'll
to
rely
share.
on the game designers to obviously create
After
the
we're
game,
done here.
but I want to
I'm gonna
make
write
that
'em
game
down.
look amazing. And so that is my job, and that's what's on my shoulders, and I love it. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea.
One of the, if I may, one of the interesting things about this particular project, a lot of the stuff that Jeannie has worked on, it's a blank slate. So she starts it from nothing and creates it from the style guides or if there's not a style guide, just from her brain. But in this case, we've got years of previous products that have come out, games and releases. So there's established card frames, there's established logos, there's established boxes and art styles. So it's that one of the challenges here is figuring out what Heroscape looks like now, and is it, we don't want to throw the baby out, we don't want to start from scratch. There's a lot of good history, there's a lot of goodwill, there's a lot of nostalgia that people love about this game. So it's finding that balance of working with what's come before and giving it new modern look.
Right, and you want to keep that integrity, and and also, please your fans, and make it where everyone loves it. Like that's just their goal. It's so simple, but you just want to make it look good, and everyone's gonna love it. So that's me.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Lee,
Interesting.
tell us a little bit about what does a typical day for you look like working on Heroscape?
I feel like I can't describe it as a typical day. Let me start it as a week. My week starts with Rowan, and we're like, all right, here's all these cool things. Here are all these cool things. What can we do with them? Where should these things go? Do these things work well together? And based on those conversations, then I'm like, okay, well, based on all these discussions I've had with Rowan, then I can plan like what the product line is going to look like. So like, what is Heroscape going to look like? Like, all right, do we shove everything into the box, into a master set, or do we do other cool things with it? And so it's figuring all that out, when we would release them, and then the end of the week is documenting all of that and putting together all the appropriate documents that reflect all of that.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I sure hope they don't box everything in a
might not
master
realize,
set.
like, how important,
We already know the
it's
issues
like,
with that.
I often compare making a game is like conducting an orchestra. So there's lots of different instruments. Everybody's playing their piece of the music.
Yeah, but in an
if
orchestra, you
everybody's
also have
piece
about
of the
40
music
different
isn't
people
in sync,
to
like we don't
100.
get a beautiful song.
2 designers.
And the producers like Lee and Dan are
I'll have some thoughts.
not necessarily always writing the music, but they're coordinating the music so it actually comes out at the end into something that's amazing and sounds great. So I can't stress enough like how
I have mixed
how
feelings.
amazing of a job so far Lee has done. Like, just hit the ground running. All her past experience is like just totally funneled into Heroscape, and it's really, really, really cool. So, Rowan, same question. Like, what is your typical day looking like right now? Like, I know it might change because I think we're getting ready to shift to some other focuses in a couple weeks. But currently, what does it look like?
Well, first, I want to give Lee immense credit for not name dropping any of the things that we have been working on. Because I've been sitting here like, I see you talking around. What is it we do? Well,
I know. It was tough.
Right now, our days involve, like Lee said, looking at a holistic view of Heroscape as a line, as a living game. That you can't just start making figures and go. That's not what leads to a healthy game months, years down the line. You have to really know where you're going before you hit the path with something like this. So that's what we've been working. Lee and I spend the majority of our day together talking about this, and soon Dan helps, Scott, Jeannie, people who are not even on this call. I'm constantly bothering people about here's what I think we should do, and they come back to me with their pieces of that's good, that's better, let's do this, and we're trying to plan the scope. But on a more normal day, it would be sitting around with the hammering on Heroscape figures to make them the best they can be, to fit them into where they need to fit into the world at large here.
So you don't literally mean taking heroes, like you're
I'm
your
loving the
playtest
comments in the
lab is
comments
filled with
section.
Smashed Heroscape figures.
No,
Right, like,
figures are far too valuable to smash.
Okay.
No, they're chewed up. There's a difference.
Yes, I chew on them to test them for authenticity.
Yeah.
No,
I think it right, like last night, I think somebody mentioned something in some meeting that like, oh yeah, Renegade Con's kicking off, and tune in. And I think Rowan's response was like, I'm gonna be busy like doing a play test for Heroscape with a bunch of people. So sorry, I won't be able to tune in, but knock them dead there, Friday night crew. So all right, so right, we have like Lee's putting things together, documentation, like working with Dan to make a great like piece of music. Rowan is working on figure design and game mechanics, and then we have Jeannie doing art. So Jeannie, tell us like what is the process like when Rowan comes up with a figure, either a new figure or maybe it was an Agent of Annihilation figures, and we need to create a piece of art, or we decide that these are our marquee characters for this piece of packaging, and now we need art, right? Like we need some amazing art for the packaging. So how does that work? How do you work? How do you maybe like work with Rowan and Lee on that and Dan? And
yeah, well, usually, sorry, Scott, I was cutting you off.
no, it's good.
Usually we would, talk together, and we'll probably do like, like in the past, we'll research some artists. We'll actually look through our Renegade pool of artists. We have a huge pool of artists, and what I'm looking for is style that fits Heroscape. And there's my dogs, of course.
Mailman's here.
Of course, like right now when I'm talking. So we'll look through, like portfolios or ArtStation or even Instagram, and we'll discuss what feel is right, what illustration style is right for each game and expansion. And then, from there, I'll reach out to an artist, see if they're available, interested. Usually they are, which is amazing. And I think what's the most important is having that clear communication with the artist, right? Because we're living in a day, or at least we've been virtual a lot lately, so it's like
mixed
art,
feelings about that.
You want to make sure that you convey your ideas to the artist, and that they're able
I think
to
Heroscape has a very
visualize
defined
and
art.
present, concepts that are
Curious to see
that
what
they're
they
on track, right? So
plan
I
on
think
doing
just
to shift that,
building
if
a relationship
that's what she's
with the
implying.
artist, making sure the communication is good. Everyone's having a fun time. You're gonna get amazing pieces at the end, and it just makes everyone super happy.
I hope they
I've
don't
worked
plan
with
on
a lot of artists, and there's things that pop up again more
trying to
more Robert
modernize
Altman,
it too
and it's like,
much.
wow, that is a dang good piece. That is so
Yeah.
awesome. It just makes it feel so good when a good artwork
see.
you put on that cover.
We'll see.
So that's kind of like a general idea of how we actually get to that point.
Cool. Like I see some people in chat commenting like, what's the art for? So, I mean, art touches lots of different things, from the packaging art to
true.
card
Cards.
design, which is more, graphic
Cards.
design and frames
graphic,
and things like that, card backs, marketing art. Like a lot of times we're either using things from packaging, or we're commissioning even art from scratch just to use in marketing,
point.
like, huge banners and all sorts of crazy stuff, or promo items. And then, of course, sketches and references for sculpts and things like that for new characters.
Yep.
Because one of the cool things about Heroscape is that
A lot of the
we can
lore
create
books.
new characters and new personas,
Concept
like,
art,
from
yeah.
scratch.
Derek on the chats,
So
yeah.
it's not just like saying, we're going to do a Transformers game, and Bumblebee looks like Bumblebee. Like when we make something that's Bumblebee, it has to kind of fit like what Bumblebee actually has a style guide to follow. But Heroscape is pretty fun because it's
Did he let it slip?
like,
Are we
all
going to
those
have a
restrictions
Bumblebee
are off,
and
you
Heroscape?
can go crazy. And if you looked at the Age of Annihilation figures, the Avalon Hill team originally went a little crazy, and they came up with some pretty crazy stuff and some really cool designs that in a few cases we're figuring out how to make work because they're a little nuts. A certain blimp comes to mind. So we're having fun with that. So hopefully that gives you some more insight there in the chat. So I guess, Lee, without giving too much away, tell me something. Tell us like what you've been working on without saying exactly
Come
what
on.
you've been working on, but you can say a little bit of what you've been working on.
Okay.
All right.
Alright.
It was his Riddles 3, Lee.
Come on, give us something.
Yeah.
Give us
Well, I
something.
already said master set.
Yeah.
But what I am trying my hardest to do is to create a thing that is lower in price, like a low cost entry point. So then that way, if you're like, man, I
Okay.
can't afford the master set, or oh, my kids would love this, boom, there it is.
Okay.
There are so many words I couldn't use to describe it. Oh my goodness, that was tough. Also, I feel like another obvious
So,
answer.
master set confirmed?
Terrain. So you can expect to see a lot of terrain.
Okay.
I know that
Good.
the community
Smart.
is holding on to their precious terrain, but it's also precious and breaking because you don't store it properly, like sun damage or whatnot, or you're like,
Or
I
it's
want
just
more terrain
15
and
years
I
old terrain.
want it now. I mean, it won't be now. It'll be when it comes out.
Yeah,
But,
it's
yeah.
15-year-old terrain, so yeah.
So how many different terrain packs are you working on right
Oh.
now?
3 currently,
Ooh.
but
Three
I would
terrain
like-
packs.
I would like for there to be more.
Very
Well,
cool.
There will be
Oh,
more.
there will be. Yes,
okay.
but 3 right
Yeah.
now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody in chat said, master set confirmed? Yes, there's going to be a master set. There's going to be I mean, this isn't really like giving away, like, it's kind of the obvious, right, folks? Like, yes, there's going to be a big box set that comes with lots of terrain and lots of figures so you can have, big epic battles and lots of fun. So, yes. And yes, it's probably, you can read between the lines when Lee says a lower price point thing, there's going to be more of it's not a starter set, right? Like something that's more for the uninitiated player to jump on, give Heroscape
Cool.
a try without having to buy, big box master set. So yes,
Cool.
Everybody in chat's like, "Woo, yeah!" Like,
Taking
I
notes.
think we're kind of telling you the obvious, but yeah, I guess it's nice that we're confirming that we're doing those things.
Great.
So,
Awesome.
uh,
Take notes. Take
all right,
notes.
I'm gonna skip over Rowan for just a second. Go back to Dan. So Dan, like all this stuff's going on, and it sounds like Lee's doing all the work. Like, what does a senior producer do? Like we got Lee's in there, like in the trenches, like engineering SKUs and doing all this stuff, and you're like senior producer to me. Like, I don't know, you're the guy sitting with his feet up on the desk, kind of going,
Totally.
entertain me.
No, yeah, I mean, no, Lee and Rowan are doing a lot of the brunt work on the leg work on figuring things out, diving into the files, making plans. For me, I've also got my fingers in, whereas Lee and Rowan are dedicated to Heroscape. Heroscape is one thing that I do along with many other, AccessNet Allies and Robo Rally and all these other.
Okay,
wonderful
so
brands that I get to work on.
he's not completely
But
dedicated to
I'm producing,
Heroscape.
those specifically. So,
Okay,
with
makes
Lee
sense.
and Rowan both being relatively new to the company, they bring with them a lot of great industry experience and Heroscape specific experience, which is why we brought them on board.
Questions on that?
But what they don't have is a lot of experience to navigate Renegade. And any company has, their own hurdles and their own, like, talk to this person, or this is how you get this done, or this is the documentation you need to get the approval here. So my role was a lot of supervisory, helping them navigate those waters, providing insight from my 20 plus years experience in the tabletop
Yeah,
industry.
so he's
as
just-
a professional.
He's kind of the top
just making sure that
top guy, making
nothing's
sure
going
that
off the rails
this
when there are
game.
hurdles
He's the
and
executive.
questions.
I mean, well,
Generally that will come to me
Scott
first,
is the
and then if it needs to be elevated to
top
Scott or to
executive,
the broader
but-
group, then we go there.
but Dan is
But
kind of the
yeah,
one
so
that
Lee and Rowan are doing a
daily
great job
operations,
on
he
the
signs
ground
off on what's going on, it
just
sounds
kind
like.
of, puppet stringing a little bit to help out where I can, but they're doing a great job doing a lot of work.
All right. Still sounds like you're just sitting with your feet up on the desk. But that's all right. All right, Rowan. Without giving away too much, but giving away a little, like, what have you been working on? Like, give us an example or two.
Sure. So,
Let's see it.
So as you mentioned,
go.
I had to skip watching some of our streams live because I was doing playtesting, which is a thing as the specifically gameplay design going on here. It's my job to get in there and work on specific figures, right? All from, like, everybody is involved at the higher levels where we're working on, like, what even is a figure, right? Genie's in there, like, it should look like something awesome. And like, that's the coolest thing I ever heard. And then we go and it should be this and this. And then when we get down to what text is going to end up on this card, that's what I'm working on. Right?
Okay,
Okay.
so she's playtesting a lot.
So
you were
tell
gonna
us,
say-
yeah. So kind of off of that, tell us, like, what is the process that you follow typically for designing a whole new figure from scratch?
This is important.
So,
Listen.
I'm really excited that the world of Heroscape is a world. And so the process for designing a whole new figure from scratch involves looking at where we think the world is going to head. So, I mean, the last thing that was mentioned out loud was the age of annihilation. So that gives you like a really meaty name, a theme, a foreboding omen of what is to come, right? And so we want to design new units that back up the fact that they were summoned. One of the Kyrie generals thought it was a good idea to bring these units in during the age of annihilation. So that's where you start. And then you go from there, you pick which Kyrie general, where are we going with them, you know, which worlds do we want to represent being pulled from, we come
Pretty
up with
vague
a
answer.
specific type of figure, and then from there,
It's not very specific.
what balances, right? What is bringing something interesting to the game too? Not everything is about the minutia of balance. Sometimes you need something to just be fun or cool or interesting. So, what type of niche is this figure going to fit into? And then start giving it some rules. Oh, that answer the question? You're smirking.
Yeah. No, like everybody's. I always smirk. Yeah, everybody in chat is, pitching. So that's good. So once you have kind of like your basis for gameplay, then like what's the process then? How like do we just go like, yeah, that looks good, like that looks fun, throw it into the pool, right?
Yeah, just ship it.
Yeah, just ship it. It'll be fine. What could go wrong?
No. So the very first thing I do is first I make sure that the really cool idea physically fits on the card. This is one of those like things that is not glamorous about the job, but it's like you only have so much space for English word text to go on the card. You have to keep your ideas somewhat in check, right? Assuming that all of that checks out, the first thing I do is what I call an internal play test, where I test with someone in person. I have my group of people who help me in person test this to make sure that nothing immediately explodes. Like, roll the d20, and if you get a 1 to 20, your entire opponent's army dies. Like, cool. That was awful. Awesome. So, scrap that, try something new. And then once we have something that feels like it produced fun at the table, then we would take it to a wider playtest pool. So depending on how the pool is broken up, there might be someone who I have in mind to look at this because I foresee a problem, or someone I have in mind to look at it because I want to see how it fits with their style of play and armies, etc. Give it to them to play. Go play. Yeah. Play, and come back to me. And, take that feedback. And again, if they're like, hey, their opponent's entire army exploded, Rowan, was it supposed to do that? Go, and go back to the drawing board, or wow, that was the most fun I ever had. Excellent, success. And we move on to the final.
Curious if she's playing just with
the wording is exactly right before we
other
go.
people, or actually
I would print that.
Renegade employees.
Off we go.
Yeah, very cool.
Huh.
So,
okay. Seems
one
like
of the
there's
things.
a
So
team.
so Rowan is our lead designer for the game. We actually have a team of game designers here at Renegade besides Rowan. Matt Hyra is our senior game designer. Who will get involved. One of Matt's claims to fame is he was the lead designer and developer on World of Warcraft miniatures game some years ago, and Matt has designed a bazillion games. Like, he's probably like one of the most prolific game designers in the industry, especially when it comes to IP-driven games and games based on existing worlds, like Heroscape is. Heroscape does have an existing world, and we want to continue to develop that world. But there's also a way, we also have a very large pool of playtesters out in the world. We have literally hundreds in the pool, and there are ways for fans and current players of Heroscape to get involved. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'm listening.
Yes, you do.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
We can get involved.
I don't know. Dan and Lee know about this. It's fine. Be talking to them. No. So if for people looking to get involved, we are looking for people. Always, we're looking for good people. Especially on a living game like Heroscape, we want a wide array of people's experiences to be looking at this.
Yeah.
New players, old players, players
Okay.
who play games like this but not this, players who play exactly this. Because that helps you cover your bases, right? That helps you, as I said before, certain things, certain people. But if you, person listening to this stream, are interested in being one of those people, I believe our valiant marketing team is going to be posting a link to a form you can use to apply to be a playtester for Heroscape.
That's
Wow.
right.
Questions just to get to know you, baseline,
What?
etc.
Let's go.
You mean the people that are actually in there can apply and become
Okay.
playtesters for future Heroscape?
Okay.
I mean, I guess that sounds pretty good. So, marketing team, you guys can put the link in the
Show
chat
me the
whenever
eyes.
you're ready. But it is an application process, as you can expect. You know, we don't take everybody, but it's too many. But we do have lots and lots of people that are in our playtest pools and work really hard. It is directed. It's not like if you think this is the chance to I'm just going to get a bunch of stuff like spoilers early in advance and not doing anything with it, it's not going to work out that way for you so well. But if you are really serious about playtesting and getting games in and providing directed feedback,
That's a big
you
deal.
might actually have a mission to test this one specific thing out and give us feedback, on these results and that sort of stuff. Then this might be the right fit for you.
That's a big deal.
So feel free. We like to get the community involved. We usually bring in outside playtesters kind of later in the process, once it's gone through several rounds of design and development. But
That's awesome.
This is a way that the Heroscape community can get involved with Renegade and help develop this game all together. So there you go.
That's super important.
And we'll post it again at the end. I haven't seen it go up.
Here's the link.
They're working on.
I'll post it in my chat.
So tell us. I saw somebody earlier on being asked if you have handles on Heroscapers and things like that. So I guess we'll go around the horn here a little bit and Dan, have you spent any time on Heroscapers.com?
Yeah, I've done some lurking. I have not yet been posting, and I will though. So I don't have a handle to share at this point, but I will make myself known at some point.
All right. How about Lee and Rowan? Have you been spending any time over there?
I'm a lurker as well. I will make my handle and I will post on there. So it's fine. Yes. Yep.
You'll emerge from the shadows.
That's right.
Exactly.
Like Rowan did.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't have a cloak though.
Don't have a
I
cloak?
can maybe borrow my son's, but it'd be very small.
Okay, that's fine.
As for me, I'm absolutely lurking on Heroscapers. I used to love to download comics. So thank you for the put those up. And I think you're implying that we should be releasing handles so that people can talk to us, right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
They can. I mean, honestly, I've been on that site for probably, I don't know, probably close to a year since it's coming up on a year since the conversations.
Yeah, so I'm curious if they're gonna. If you can't see my
I think I've been on it for
chat,
10 years.
if you can't see the chat that I posted, basically just asked if they're gonna create a new website, or if we're gonna be on Heroscapers.com.
is on our Discord server. So
Yeah, true.
if you
Discord
haven't
server.
joined our Discord server yet, join the Renegade Discord. There's 5 or 6 channels right now, something like that, for Heroscape. The Heroscape chat is super active. I'm in there all the time on my phone. A lot of times,
Okay,
between
so they're
meetings,
gonna
I'm looking and reading
the
stuff, and
Heroscape
sometimes I'll
Discord
chime in
and the
or
newsletter. It
help-
looks like are gonna be the
help
main
things
sources.
back on the rails if people, are misunderstanding something. So I don't want you guys to be misinformed. So both Lee and Rowan have been in there quietly, I think, the last week or two, watching all of you, but I think they're ready to reveal themselves, so you'll see them.
Cool.
It's really easy to tell a Renegade person in the Renegade Discord. Our names are all Renegade Blue, and if you see a Renegade Blue name in there, that's an official person from Renegade, and so
It's
if they
good to
say
know.
something, you know that you're not being trolled or they're not
Big
messing
news
around
on the
with you. I'm not
playtesting
saying we
front.
won't
That's
mess around
awesome.
with you, but
Oh, Scott will troll you.
That's massive,
Scott will
actually.
troll you.
It's actually really cool.
Lee? All right. So we've kind of gone through some of those things. I guess let's look at the chat. So if you guys have questions, post them in the chat. We'll try to answer what we can of the questions in the chat. We have about 10
Yeah,
minutes
if you
or
guys
so.
have questions,
Yeah. Also, that's another good thing. I think Tim just posted in chat and said, make sure you sign up for the newsletter.
post on the chat.
We're putting
Post
that all
questions
together.
here.
I'll give you guys a little bit of an insight as to where we are. Right, we just officially took over Heroscape just a few months ago from Hasbro, and the Avalon Hill team has been phenomenal. Craig has been great. He's still involved.
Okay.
Anything we do kind of goes through a process with our partners over at Hasbro and Avalon Hill. Craig is
Okay.
involved. We send him things. He gets to see things, and they've been really, really supportive. But the last month or so, two months, has really been just taking all the stuff that we inherited from them and doing our due diligence and inventorying it and seeing what's there and making sure everything is there that we think should be there and what's not there and what other work needs to be done.
Okay.
Because it wasn't 100% finished.
So that's great. Craig's still
when
involved
it
in
was turned
some
over to us. There's still a lot of work
some
to be
capacity.
done. We need to do a lot of graphic
Yeah.
design and create art and tweak scopes and test some gameplay and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're really focused on right now. We're running some tests with some factories and things like that, and kind of vetting factories and doing kind of like all that kind of production stuff. So I know everybody you want to know everything, and we're not ready to tell you everything, but there's some things that we can tell you. So we'll kind of go through and see if there's any questions in there that we can answer, and maybe we'll tell you some things if you don't ask the right questions. So let's see. Historical units, a bunch of people were spamming historical units. There won't be any historical units in these current waves that we're working on right now because we're focused on the Age of Annihilation content. There was over 70 figures in that content, and that's what we're working on as of today.
So currently no historical units planned.
Far future, you never know. Let's see. Backwards compatibility, yeah, that's been stated right from the start. That's nothing new. Currently, the game is backwards compatible, and it should remain backwards compatible. That's really not that big of a deal. I
Some
just
good
want one
questions.
thing, but then you didn't say what you wanted. Oh, okay. It just said, I just want one thing, LOL.
These are some good
Just
questions.
wanted to laugh. They got that.
They just want to laugh.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's fair enough. What kind of interactions have you had with the folks from Avalon Hill other than Craig, Ben, Adam, or Rod? I don't know what that question really means. We're having interactions with the team over at Avalon Hill. They're great. They're very supportive. We spent a bunch of time with them at Gen Con, and
Okay.
it's just part of kind of like part of the process. Like we've been working with Hasbro now for years. We make lots of games, miniatures games, board games, card games, RPGs with them already. So
That's good
there's
to know.
kind of an established process
So they're
there.
partnering with Avalon Hill in some sense.
Let's see. Who will be running? So everything comes. Who will be running lore, story direction? That all comes from Renegade. We are the licensee. We are the makers of Heroscape moving forward. So everything for the Heroscape game will come from us working with our licensor.
Okay. So
Painted or unpainted, we're not ready yet on that. It's something that we're still exploring. I think I'll state the obvious for everybody. It's not 2003 anymore, so it's just a different ball game nowadays. So, but that's not something we're ready to commit either way because we're exploring other factories. Let's see.
Well, lots of comments coming in.
Okay.
Good
Let's see
questions
anything
too.
else here, just, so one question I wanted to have for the group: classic figures or old figures, current figures moving forward. Any favorites? Anything that stands out? I have one, but mine's for sinister reasons. I think because we're going to do something
Sinister.
cool. Well, sinister in a fun. Well, to me, sinister is a positive, I guess. In a fun way. So we're going to do something really fun with it. So I don't know. Let's go around. Like Dan. So like you're relatively new to Heroscape. So what character
Yeah,
have you Yeah.
Let me give a like I've been in the industry for a long time, but one of the other things that to know about me is I have 6 children, and when Heroscape launched in 2004 to 2010, when it was going on, I was in baby making mode. I had toddlers coming out left and right. I was working probably at Upper Deck at that point on the World of Warcraft trading card game, so I was still in the industry, but I was not like, exploring lots of different things. So unfortunately, I was aware of it, but I was not a participant in Heroscape. So
Okay. So he's newer to the scene.
Like, why? But looking through the new figures, this stuff from Age of Annihilation is amazing. These sculpts. One that stood out to me was the Hellforged Manticore. It's like a big, fire belching machine on wheels that's got arms coming out, just belching destruction.
Yeah.
So I'm excited
Melting
to
everything in
get
its way.
that sucker to the table and blow up worlds. So I would say
Nice.
that's my favorite.
All right.
Annihilate them, perhaps.
Yes.
Right? In this age.
In this age, more likely than you think.
All right, so I'm going to jump in real quick, put a pause on that just because it's hard to keep up with scroll and chat. Somebody asked, are we working on organized play? Yeah, absolutely. This game is going to launch with organized play in stores and beyond, actually on day 1. We're way ahead of the game working on that sort of stuff.
Wow.
You have some of the most experienced organized play people probably in the industry actually here at Renegade. We've run multi-thousand person events for some of the biggest brands in the world. We can do that. I'm not worried about organized play. We're going to knock it out of the park.
Wow.
So, all right, Lee.
That's cool.
What's your answer to this question? Past or present? Well, I guess
both.
present is future because they're not out yet, but yeah, both. Okay.
All right. So, way back in the day, I really liked having like the samurai and the ninjas. But if I had to choose something from Age of Annihilation, Rowan already knows this. It's Kita, the ridiculously cute fox, and the teeniest, cutest little thing with like, I don't even know if they're antlers, but I'm all for Kita.
All right. Oh, we have 5 minute warning. All
She
right,
likes
we're
the
moving,
cute
we're
stuff.
moving. Okay,
Good
Rowan.
to know. Good to know.
Here you go. Yeah.
So, I loved in classic Heroscape, I always loved to field Runa. Look at her. She's awesome. Look at her. And I love the characters that have a 5% chance of destroying you.
Yeah,
It never
Runa,
works
the
out,
most
but
trash
it's
unit in the game.
and then Age of Annihilation sculpts, and just
That's okay.
Leviathan.
She is cool.
Look at the axe. The swinging, slicing. She's so cool. I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Cool. All right. I'm going to answer a question real quick in chat. So somebody is asking, is this being revamped as tournament first, fun second? Well, no. So this is fun is first. Always fun is first because these are games and games are meant to be fun. This isn't the golf pro tour where we expect people to like start becoming professional Heroscape players and make a living playing Heroscape. This is the game. We make fun games that should be enjoyed. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy the game by being competitive, but we fully realize even the biggest games in the world, the majority of people that play them at home.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
Playing games at home, first and foremost, you have to cater to the largest segment of the player base, and that's casual gamers that want to play games and have fun.
Yep.
But you can do both. We've
point.
done both plenty of times with plenty of other games in our careers. Dan said, we've been working on stuff for 20 years. And the games that have the biggest tournaments at Gen Con typically have another 80% of the player base that never goes to Gen Con and plays in the World Championship. And you can make both people happy. And that's what we're going to always strive to do. But first and foremost, the game has to be fun. Or it's not a game. It's I don't know what it is anymore. Like, what is a game?
I'm loving
what's
the comments.
definition of a game that's not fun?
The comments are great. And good questions again.
A job? A job? It's a job.
Candyland.
Yeah. All right. So, I can tell you. So I'm going to let Jeannie off the hook on the character answer because she's just kind of coming onto the team. But by the next Renegade Con in early next year, when we're really ready to spill the beans on stuff, Jeannie's going to have all sorts of cool stuff to show you and characters to talk about, because she's going to have all the cool art and sculpts and things like that. I'm really excited about Raylan for many reasons, because what Rowan's working on got me really excited. It also got Craig very excited. And what marketing is working on,
Evil Raylan,
also got me really excited about that character. And if everything aligns and goes well, I think we're going to do some really cool, fun things, not just in the game, but outside of the game, possibly. And we'll see.
Outside
That's very teasy trolly, so I guess I am a troll. So there you go.
Okay. Evil Raylan.
That's my answer to Raylan. Raylan's
Exciting stuff.
I mean,
Inside?
yeah.
Raylan's the obvious answer.
Inside?
It's true, it's the obvious answer, but sometimes it's obvious because it's a good answer.
And outside the game.
It is the answer.
Outside the game.
Somebody asked, will they be able to find new Heroscape in France? Yeah, you should be able to find new Heroscape in France. We have Renegade France. So Renegade France, we do a partnership with one of our localization partners. There's actually French social media. There's a Facebook group. They set up at conventions and stuff in France. I'd say, Dan, like 80-90% of all of our games come out in French.
Interesting.
Yeah. French is easy. No problem. Like, you'll be in good
This
good
is
hands
really
over in French. We have a really good team over there.
What did he mean by Raylan, Evil Raylan? Exciting stuff planned for inside and outside the game.
Somebody says, I'm kind of scared for Rowan's ravenous appetite for destruction. No, it's in a good way. It's okay. It's okay. Old Skull reprinted.
I said I also like Raylan. It's fine. Everything balances out. That's
It'll
fine.
be fine.
It'll
It'll
be
be fine. I mean, maybe there's two Rowans. We don't know. Like, there's Cloaked Rowan, where he's gonna lay waste to Valhalla, and then there's good Rowan. So old sculpts, people were asking about that. No, we're not going back and reprinting old figures. We're moving forward, and all new figures, new gameplay. None of the molds exist for the old stuff anyway, guys. Like, they're long gone. So if you were to remake those figures, you would just have to make new molds. So we're not going to spend that time and energy making figures that have already come before. We're going to make stuff going forward. That doesn't mean that you might not see personas from the past reappear. That's possible. But we're not just going to go back and rehash what's been done before. That doesn't sound very exciting to us.
Okay.
There's a couple other common questions that I know that I've answered in Discord recently. People have asked if all the content that was up on the HasLive campaign will be used, and the answer is yes, including all the stretch goals and things like that. You're going to get to see all that content at some time. Doesn't mean you're going to get it all on day one.
Okay.
But you're going to get it pretty close, to the first year or so.
It's good to know. Everything in the
So let's see. Somebody asked, will there be efforts
original campaign
made to make sure that people who can't access old figures can stay competitive? Yeah, that's really easy with different tournament formats and things like that. We would never run, for example, a major tournament and say that you have to have, the figures that are out of print and not available to everybody would be legal in that sort of an event. But that doesn't mean we can't run events that also, allow classic figures. So, we'll try to take care of everybody. And again, it's all about fun. So, lots of different tournament formats and stuff like that. So, I think we're running over.
About the master box, if it's not too much of a spoiler, is intended to be played by people who don't already own Heroscapes and people who do. Of course, it's backwards compatible, but you don't need to already have an army to be able to use what's about to come out.
Correct. It'll be standalone, fully playable right out of the box. So I think we have to wrap it up. They're going to start to bring out
Mega
the
Bubfish
off stage.
for the
I
question.
just want to say,
The comment, yeah. There's some big stuff. I'll talk about it after
we're working really hard.
they finish up here.
We will be launching
I'll do a
Heroscape
summary.
next year in 2024, and sometime in Q1 next year, maybe the next Renegade Con or somewhere right around there. That's where we're just going to reveal everything that's coming in Wave 1. There's multiple waves being planned, but Wave 1, and get to show off lots of stuff. And probably the best way to make sure that maybe we will spill some beans, trickle some along the way before the big reveal next year, is to join our Discord, because we're all in there. Dan can attest that occasionally, I just kind of get like cheeky and decide to just tell you something, and the rest of the team's like, "What? You spoiled that?" And sure, why not? You guys deserve it sometimes. But join the Discord, join the newsletter. If you're serious about playtesting, apply to become a playtester. And one last question for everybody before we go, and then we're going to sign off. We're going to start with Jeannie. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Oh, and and two questions. And what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? This is the true test of who you are.
Well, if you heard earlier, my dogs bark, so that should give you an idea. I have 3 dogs, 2 Beagle rescues, and a wonderful mutt who's going to be turning about.
Well, we got a timeline
this month. She's hanging in there.
We'll talk about that. I've been taking notes, so
my favorite
we'll talk about that after this is done, and then I'll also post a separate summary video.
All right, Dan, go. We're running out of time. Quick.
Dog person. And cookies and cream.
All right, nice. Lee.
Oh my god, I'm creeped out because I pretty much have the same answers as Dan. Cookies and cream, but I love both cats and dogs. Dogs for the personality, cats.
Also,
because
is that in Lee's background? Is that a Tikala tree?
Yeah,
sounds good.
I can't
It looks like a Tikala
All right, Rowan
set
looks perplexed.
above her head.
Go.
I think it is.
My cat did not throw up during this stream, so I did not change my answer. It could still be cat.
See that? It's a Tikala tree and a Tikala bush.
I'm a sorry for cat.
Ha! That's awesome.
For me, I started off as a dog person. I've grown into a cat person, and the correct ice cream answer always. You're all wrong on ice cream. The correct answer for
Mint
ice cream
chocolate
is
chip.
all ice cream is wonderful.
Oh.
There's no bad ice cream.
Okay, mint
That's the right
chocolate.
answer.
That's fair.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know there's more that you want to know. We're going to tell you more as soon as it's ready. We're not going to tell you things until they're ready. Join us on Discord. Enjoy the rest of Renegade Con, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, team. All right, so we're still here. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Let's go ahead and I'm going to keep the chat up here. See if anyone says anything substantive. Not well. Let's see. I mean, a lot of questions obviously that didn't get answered, which is fine. All right, let's go back to. Oops, sorry. All right, there we go. So that was interesting. Please share your comments and questions that you have based off of what we just learned. I'm going to take a second and process a little bit and cover some of the things. And what I'll do is, based off of, I'll share kind of the summary of what occurred for those of you that might have missed it. I'll cover some of that now and some of my thoughts, and then I'll share a summary video separately where I have a little more time to, just think through the things and share some of the thoughts. But I actually took quite a few notes. So let's cover really quick some of my personal thoughts, and then we can cover some of the summary stuff, or maybe we'll do a little bit of both. Either way. First off, first impressions. I thought it was very interesting to have a team of essentially 5 people. One who's essentially the executive director, right, Scott. Then you have Dan, who just joined, but he's over a bunch of other games, so he's kind of the one that's like, hey, as long as you're getting the job done, good, right? Like he doesn't know much about Heroscape. Okay, so he's, he just makes sure that the job's getting done. So then you have the director, Jean, right, who is more involved on a daily basis, but she's new to Heroscape. So the 2 people that you really have that know what Heroscape is were Lee and Rowan, who it sounds like are the main designers. Now Lee is the associate designer who just joined on a month ago, and Rowan has been with Renegade, and they've both played Heroscape, but it was very telling that they're not involved in the community very much, right? They've played it. They've played the game, which is important. They've played it casually. But they... I just have some concerns. Now, some of those concerns, I think, will go away over time, and I'll get to that in a second. But initially, my outlook on it is a little bit hesitant, only because you have people who, are not like super involved in the game itself. They're going to be more as time goes on, right? Obviously, they're working on Heroscape, but it's not something that they've been involved in for years. So there's some concerns there in terms of understanding the lore, understanding the balance. One thing I loved about the way that Avalon Hill set up their team was the War Council. Like, I thought that was so smart, so brilliant. Incredibly smart to say, hey, you got Craig. You've got Avalon Hill, design team that's involved, because they have to have someone from Avalon Hill. So there's like a couple people like in Carmine and whatnot who handled the lore. But then you had designers from the community. You had Craig, who's the top of it, and then you had the War Council, which consisted of people all of us know. People who have proven that they can do good design. For example, they had some of the original designers, like Sky Knight, who was part of the original designer from back in the old Heroscape days. And so the Avalon Hill War Council made a lot of sense because you had members from the community who had proven themselves over years and years and years of high quality content. So I have some concerns that they don't have anyone like that on the team. Now, their model's a little bit different, right? Because technically they still are consulting Avalon Hill. Now, and they mention that, right? Is that they're still in communication with Craig. They're still in communication with, those at Avalon Hill. So there is a level of, I wouldn't say checks and balances, but they are getting other people involved, like Craig, to say, hey, we're thinking about making this, figure. What do you think? Or, hey, here's what our thoughts on this. The problem is that Craig doesn't have any direct impact over that, or those, the designers at Renegade do. So, I think we're going to get Age of Annihilation stuff, and that's going to make us happy. Because that's what we want, and we're going to get it. I'm curious to see what happens after that. Because I just don't know, in terms of quality, if it's going to measure up to the same type of quality that we're used to. It's just something to think about. Again, pause. That said, I think their model is a good model in that if you have people like Rowan and Lee who don't play Heroscape day in and day out and aren't, haven't been with Heroscape for the last 12 years, they mentioned that they have literally hundreds of playtesters. That was confirmed. Scott said that. He said that they currently have hundreds of playtesters. Okay. That's a lot, right? And on top of that, he said you can become a playtester too. And so he shared a link, and I'll make sure to post the link as well. But if you see here, this link, Renegade Playtesters, you can sign up, and it's some sort of approval or application process here. Joining our Renegade Playtesters Discord server. Okay. Read and welcome message. You'll have a few more steps to complete, and then you'll be able to be part of the team. Just click the invite and join today. Cool. So yeah, it looks like you click here, join the Discord, and then you can become a playtester for Heroscape, which, that's awesome, right? Because then you get a ton of different people, experienced and non-experienced, giving feedback on a unit. So, again, really, really good, because it allows you to get a lot of feedback, especially for Rowan and Lee, who, again, haven't been around Heroscape very much. So you get a lot of good feedback if you have hundreds of playtesters. The downside is you've got two extremes, right? You've got two designers who are somewhat limited in their knowledge of Heroscape with hundreds of playtesters giving them feedback. How do you sift through that to understand what's good quality feedback? What's the good what's good balance? How do you understand a power and based off the playtest really evaluate whether or not that power is acting correctly the way you want it to? Heroscape's a different game than a lot of games, right? And so understanding the implications of those, the balance and the way those things work, just isn't translatable always into Heroscape. Like, even if you've worked on other designed games and the balance of those games, it's just different when it comes to Heroscape. There's a lot more to consider, in my opinion. Anyway, so the extreme here is that, whereas the War Council at Avalon Hill was, 10 different people playtesting who are highly skilled, who are highly knowledgeable of Heroscape, playtesting together and working through this, you felt like you got really high quality stuff. So we're going to get that because we're getting Age of Annihilation, which was designed by those people. I don't know if we're going to keep getting that after Age of Annihilation. So I just don't know. Anyway, so those are my initial thoughts. That's my initial reaction, right? That's just a reaction. That's just me based off of what they were saying. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my initial reaction. That aside, let's talk through some of the awesome stuff that they're talking about, right? They talked about low cost of entry, that there's going to be a low cost option. Awesome. That's what we want. We want new people getting into the game. That's one way to do it. And they confirmed there's going to be a master set, right? So there's likely going to be an offering for, the $250 that we bought originally for Age of Annihilation by Avalon Hill. There's probably going to be a $250 option where it's just like, hey, get everything, there you go, master set. And then they're probably going to have a $100 option for it says, hey, get into the game, here's your starter set, is what they're probably going to call it. So you have your master set, which is kind of everything from Age of Annihilation, then you have your starter set, which is enough to play the game, right? So they've confirmed that they've got a master set and a starter set, or a low cost option they're calling it. They've confirmed there's 3 terrain packs, new terrain packs they're working on, and they want to get more. Rowan, is the lead game designer, so she's kind of the top of the game designers, and then Lee is the associate, and then you've got, again, those hundreds of playtesters they mentioned. So that's awesome, especially because as a community member you can be involved in that. And being involved in the playtesting, I think, is one way that we're going to help the quality of the design be what we want it to be. So I would suggest that any of you out there that have been part of playtesting or not, or just want to be part of playtesting, sign up and get excited, because I think this is going to be very valuable for the team to hear kind of our perspective and our feedback on this. Something, again, that I already mentioned is, again, they've still got Craig involved somewhat, again, not full time, but they do reach out to him and get some help from him. I think that's awesome. They confirmed there won't be historical units right now, that they're focusing on Age of Annihilation, and so historical units may be added in the past, but at this time not currently. Renegade does own the lore of Heroscape, so Avalon Hill owned it, and they started with a bunch of new stuff. Renegade's going to continue that, but how they continue that is completely up to them. So, not sure where the lore direction will go. I think that remains to be seen. They did confirm that in terms of pre-painted miniatures, that's unknown. They said that they're exploring options. They're exploring both options of pre-painted and unpainted miniatures, and they couldn't confirm anything other than that they're very aware of it and are investigating it. They also confirmed, which I thought was really cool, that organized play, they said, is a cakewalk for them. They said day one of the announcement, organized play will be launched on day one, which is pretty interesting because, I feel like even when Heroscape was in session, so to speak, that wasn't really a thing. Like, it was meant to be a fun game, not necessarily a competitive tournament game, or at least that was how it was initially designed. And then I think over time people realized this was something that they wanted to make more of like a tournament scene and a competitive scene, right? And so this time around it's a little different because now it's being introduced back into the mainstream gaming community with organized play. That's pretty freaking sweet. Because when you can go and sell this to game stores and say, hey, buy our game, set it up once a month, on this Saturday, here's the format for this month, any player that gets in the top 2 or 3 or whatever, give them this expansion set or something. Like, you know, I don't know how they run their tournaments or how they run their events, but Renegade said, like Scott literally said, like, this is a cakewalk. We, like, this is what we, you know, hang our hat on. Renegade is awesome at organized play. They said they run thousands of, you know, person events for other games that they run. And so they're like, this is, like, we got this. Like, organized play is easy for us. We're going to have that set up and ready to go day one. And I'm pretty sure they've been in contact with members of the community that run events. I know I've reached out to them and let them know about my Champions Circle League, the CCL, and potential support for that. And so I think they will provide you know, prize support for their events that we run, but officially it sounds like they're going to run events themselves as well, which is really cool. A couple things that weren't as obvious. Scott mentioned his favorite figure was Raylan, and Evil Raylan, and he specifically mentioned that he's excited about some stuff that they're going to do with her in the future of the lore. And he said a very interesting thing. He said both inside and outside the game. So I really have no idea what that means. I'm assuming outside the game just means in the lore, like outside of actually playing the game. So, for example, inside the game would be her powers, right? Her abilities. Okay, maybe Evil Raylan now, instead of +2 defense, it's -2 defense, or it's -1 attack, or something like that, right? Which is, again, you know, that's, I guess, what would be considered inside the game. So outside the game, maybe it's as simple as just kind of the lore and the storyline that they plan on setting up with her. Because I don't really know what else it would be. But, you know, fun little reveal there from Scott. Couple other things. They did confirm there will be no printing of old sculpts. And I think that was a pretty good, clear answer. It didn't seem like there was any room for misunderstanding that. I think that was pretty clear. The old stuff will still be a collector's item, right? Little disappointing, but kind of expected, right? We knew that there weren't any molds for the old figures, and we kind of knew that that was going to be the case. I'm not terribly surprised, but it still hurts a little bit because you kind of hoped that they would, you know, just reprint the old stuff, because why not? But he confirmed that Heroscape's coming back, but they're moving forward, right? Old stuff will exist. It will be compatible. It will be usable. It'll be part of the game, but it won't be reprinted. It won't be, you know, revisited. I think the best thing they could do is maybe do like retcons or updates to cards, old cards, because that would be much easier, right? If you say, hey, don't bother, we're not going to bother reprinting the miniatures, but we'll correct the cards, you know, or rebalance the cards, and maybe that's actually something they would do. I mean, that's just a little bit of digital design, and then you print a card. That wouldn't be hard to do, like, hey, come buy this updated card pack, which has the 250 units, all their updated cards, or whatever. That wouldn't be too bad. And I bet a lot of people would be excited about something like that. So, anyway. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, yeah, the timeline. So they said Q1 of next year, Q1 2024, you will have a Wave 1 announcement. Now, Q1 could be as early as January. Could be as late as March, but Q1 gives us a timeline. That the first wave, they said there's going to be multiple waves, but the first wave will be available or at least announced in full by end of Q1 of next year. So we're looking at T-minus 5 months, right? 5 months at the very latest, and 2 months at the earliest, which I think is pretty cool. So having a timeline is great. That definitely helps define for us a little bit about what to expect. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think that's going to help get the... Oops, sorry. I keep doing that. Ugh, my bad. I keep... My stupid shortcuts. I'm always between my scenes. I'm always confusing myself. So the thing about that timeline is it gives us an opportunity to kind of prep, ask more questions, give more feedback on the Discord, get involved with playtesting. I think that's awesome. Save up money, right? Your wallet's going to take a hit when this thing gets announced, so save up now. It's also pretty great because, announcing Heroscape coming back around, your tax return, right? Tax return, I think, is April 15th is the deadline, right? But most people will probably get it in February or March or whatever. So if you can announce Heroscape by February or March and people get their tax return, then you're gonna make a killing, because I guarantee you for my tax return it's gonna be a lot. I mean, Kristen, Lady Heroscape, if you're listening, sorry, tax return next year might be going towards 10 sets of Heroscape. We'll see. Anyway. But yeah, so those are my impressions, and those are kind of the highlights from the video today for those of you that missed it or just wanted a quick recap. If you already forgot, I'll probably try and get a video out with 10-15 minutes, tops, just kind of covering these items, some of my impressions again, and then as well some of these highlights so that people can have a quicker reference guide to what they missed today. I think we got more than we expected. Originally they were saying we're just meeting the team, there's no announcements, but I felt like there were some good announcements, right? They, even for some of the negative stuff, like that they won't reprint figures, that's not what I wanted to hear, but knowing that that's their decision on the item at least helps clarity, right? It helps us kind of understand what to expect going forward for Heroscape. So I thought that was really good. I thought we covered some good content today with the team, and we're able to understand kind of the next few months what we're going to be seeing. So anyway, thank you guys for sticking around. It's been a little bit of hour and a half live stream, so not too bad. We're able to get some good content in and kind of understand where we're at with the Heroscape future. So that'll be it for me, unless you're interested in the map building contest. I should point that out just before I go, is the contest that I'm running. And remember, I did announce this last week, but the map building contest can be found under contests and forums. So if you go under forums and you scroll down to the contest and forum games here, and then you scroll here to the Epic Maps building contest, $25 prize here, October 11th, so we're just a few days away. So you've got 4 days to get your submissions in, and here's the details. Basically just a big massive map that's going to be awesome and eye-popping to get people back into the game. So far we've got, I think, 6 submissions, which some really cool ones. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 so far. So really good submissions so far, and excited to see more if those of you out there are working on those. Again, it's just a quick $25 if you want to submit it. I'll be reviewing them by the where did I put the timeline? I think the 12th, I said, somewhere in here. I can't remember. Anyway, that's the timeline. Is the 11th is the deadline. The timeline on the 12th will be when I review and announce the maps. And it's going to be awesome. The maps so far are really cool. So if you're interested in making a big awesome map and submitting it for the contest, please do. Otherwise, that's going to be it for me today, you guys. I will have some online games, I think, here in the next week or so, and I will have some videos coming out. So stay tuned. Lots of news, lots of exciting stuff about Heroscape coming down the pipeline in the coming weeks and months. So stay active. Stay awesome. Anyway, thanks, guys. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.